What is up, y'all? Welcome into the channel. Your girl Sweet Angel here on kind of a different note today. Listen, I hope y'all are doing well, and I hope y'all are here for this story time today. I don't know if you all missed me or not, because I've been on my grind and I've been doing what I need to do. So therefore, you probably haven't missed any delay in videos or anything like that. But let me tell you, baby, y'all saw the title of this story time, right? Yeah, I lasted 7 days at a daycare center, and girl, I ran up out of there. Let me just take you on this little journey. So it was only just a little bit ago. I just need y'all to buckle up, and honestly, this ride right here, whew, is something else. Yes, it was short, chaotic, and left me a little bit shook. So anyway, let me tell you this is the deal. So let me just start from day one. You know, of course I was hired, and I started really that next week. I started the next week. I walked in bright-eyed, ready to nurture these little minds and try to make a difference, okay? I'm talking about I was Pinterest ready. I had my briefcase in hand or clipboard in hand and a heart full of love. And baby, the moment I stepped into that room of 3 and 5 year olds, I knew I had stepped into something deeper than just finger painting and story time. These kids, those kids, you know what? Unruly doesn't even scratch the surface, because I mean, they were jumping off tables, throwing toys like dodgeballs, and even cussing each other out like they paid bills. Y'all, I looked around for support and I realized there was none. That's the other thing. But let's talk about, you know, from the top on down. Let's talk about that part of it, because when it comes to the person in charge, phew, let me tell you something. I know her heart was definitely in what she wanted to have this thing look like. But honestly, her management skills were not there. That's the biggest thing. I don't think she could manage a grocery list the way she had things going up in there, let alone a full-blown childcare center. No training was given for me as a newcomer in there. There was no structure. And even though she may have had in her own knowledge bank and understanding the requirements of her childcare licensing, that information needed to have been disseminated to the staff. And I say, for me, I'm just talking about me as a new person. It was kind of like I was pretty much drowning in not only trying to handle the kids, but making sure that I am in compliance with whatever I needed to make sure that was done. The emphasis just was not put on, this is what is required, okay? And until days into it did I actually have hands-on of a manual to say this should be done, that should be done, this is how the state requires this. That was a challenge, okay? So that means, you know, I've made good money throughout my life, and the pay for being a pre-K teacher or someone who's taking care of someone's kids is just, it don't even cut the mustard. And I understand the reality of where teachers lie at in this big responsibility you have, but yet you're not compensated for that. And we're going to talk about some compensation issues in just a minute. But I was not even given a roster of the kids that's supposed to be in my class. That's how unorganized everything was. I swear I did not know those kids' names until probably a few days before I made my exit, okay? I didn't really know where the schedules was. Come to find out, there was a board posted, which that was days after. The only way I started kind of seeing what was going on is that the state did come in, and the owner jumped into my classroom, because at the time, even before I even got my background check back, I was already in there with the kids, which is a no-no. Okay. Again, she may know these things. The owner may have known these things. However, these things were not followed through because of her urgency of, I have kids that I have to have people overseeing each classroom, and you just kind of thrown in there. So of course she was written up for that, and leave it to me to be first day there in a classroom and getting this woman wrote up. Okay, that was not my fault, it was hers. But at the end of the day, I sure hated it. It was kind of different. Even with the classroom organization as to where things were and all of that, just trying to get familiar with that. It wasn't supposed to be a babysitting job. It was supposed to be that I was helping with early childcare education. And honey, that didn't quite even come to be, because again, unfortunately, the children were just not mentally in a stage to even do that, because they didn't get it from home. So you can't just plunge them in a classroom and think that, oh, it's going to be, you can handle it, you can do that. It was out of control. And if I seemed as though it was frustrating, it was frustrating, because I say the connection between perhaps the owner and the kids that she had coming in was more, these were like relatives. Okay, so what she could do, say, or handle when it come to them was different than what I could do, say, or handle. So that made a little bit of a difference. But moving on from there, chaos in the classroom, virtually again, no assistance, no help. When I was hired, of course, I was told that I would have an assistant, because of course for me, I can't go to the bathroom. You can't leave the kids unattended. You can't really, not supposed to allow them to even go to the bathroom by themselves, to be out in the hallway by themselves. They're 3 and 5 year old. They're 3 and 5 year olds. So you can't do that, right? So no breaks, virtually no help, no clue, honestly. Lunch, girl, you better eat standing up with one eye open, because nobody's coming to relieve you when you need to be relieved. Okay, bathroom break, you better hold it. You better hold it, honey, because again, no assistance. It was just me and a sea of toddlers and a hope and a prayer. Okay, yes, I had on each day a range from maybe either 8 to maybe 13 in the classroom, and it was wow. And oh boy, let's talk about the constant write-ups that the place got from the state. It was constant. They fix one thing and something else breaks down. It was, not breaking down, but it was not in order like it should have been. It was always something. And of course, there were some special needs children, and that's unfortunate that they had to be put into classrooms where, you have the, population here, they're mixed in. Me personally, no, I have no training or no formal education when it came to, autistic kids and things of that nature. I have a huge heart for inclusion, but let it be clear, these precious babies needed a one-on-one direct teacher. Instead, they were left in the chaos and expected to, I guess, just be there and hang out, because you really can do a lot with them in having to attend to those busybodies that, just gonna be doing their thing. It was kind of sad. Truly, it was really sad. And with no support or accommodations or understanding of special needs children, to me, it's not just unethical. It was dangerous. It was dangerous, honestly speaking. And y'all, I worked one full week, and then by the next week, the beginning of the next week, that Monday and Tuesday was day 7. I was so exhausted, emotionally drained, and honestly heartbroken. I didn't quit because I didn't care. I quit because I do. And knowing that, I'm putting myself in a position where something bad's going to happen eventually because of the fact of how everything was operating. Their task every day was cleaning up what was messed up. And it shouldn't be that way. It should be things in place. This is how it operates. Enough hands on deck to take care of what needs to be done. I knew I could not ethically stay in an environment that was failing these children and even failing the staff at every level. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. My heart went out. And the big thing that happened the night before I quit, my granddaughter, Royal, was actually going to this center as well. So she was in her own class with a different teacher. And unfortunately, her teacher had to be sent home because she had not completed her training. She had worked in daycare centers before. However, she needed to take care of her training before she could be in the classroom with the children per the state. And that was not done. So it was just a lot going on. And that night, I didn't get any sleep. Royal was extremely, I don't know. She was just disturbed in her sleep. Just screaming, crying, waking up, wanting me to hold her. It was just too much for her. And even when we arrived at the place, she was already hysterical because, of course, quite naturally, all she's known is, her people. She didn't know where she was. She didn't know that I was finna leave her with someone else. She had no clue, and she was highly upset. So, y'all, that really broke my heart. And I'm like, I can't take this baby through this. She's got to get, easily rolled into situations. And with it being a different kind of situation where, it was a little bit more chaotic, I just couldn't. So I just wanted to share my thoughts and concerns when it came to how daycare centers can actually be the worst place ever. And there are some that are super great. And it just enlightened me so much that they really do. As a worker in a daycare center, you have to know and be aware of so many things because you have people's most precious cargo in your hands. But I soon found out that even from the homes these children come from, they weren't getting the care that they needed there. So it's virtually impossible for you to break into their life and get like some sense of smoothness, some sense of balance instilled in them in that little time that you can spend individually with each one of them. It was hard. So for those who are thinking about working in childcare, ask all the questions. Ask all the questions. Check those licenses. And if something feels off, it probably is. And that's my horror story of working at that daycare center. And man, I don't ever think I would want to go in that direction again. I did homeschool my kids. I've dealt with my own kids. And even hanging out with my granddaughter, the personalities that I've dealt with is so different from what was in my hands at that daycare center. So all I gotta say is, even if you're a parent and putting your child in daycare, be very careful, be very mindful of there's rules, there's regulations, there's things that they're supposed to do. But to me, it was just a lot. when it came to schedules, when it came to even feeding these children. It was like they're supposed to eat 11 o'clock or 11:30, and here it is 12:30, 12:45. It was too much. I'm like, when is the food going to get served? You know, it was so much that I don't even want to say. But all I can say is that job, girl, was not for me. I bowed out gracefully and couldn't do it. But I wanted to talk about something else that bothered me about the owner. When I was hired, I signed a contract, and we'll just say I signed it for $20. Okay, I signed for $20. It wasn't $20 though, but $20 an hour. But I signed the contract, and I worked that Tuesday, that Wednesday, about 6 a.m. I called her and said, I can't do this. And she was like, oh, I understand, blase, blase. Yeah, I can't do this. And I ended up, before I resigned or quit, basically, I had gotten really sick and my voice was gone. I was roughing it, because I knew, I had a responsibility to be there. But after I got so tired and so disappointed in the processes and so disappointed about how meetings were taking place and arguments with the staff and her, and I just had to take a whole snapshot of the whole picture and say, I know this isn't for me. I know this place isn't for me. So I did resign. And when she hit me up, she told me, she said, well, if you don't give me a 2-week notice, your pay is dropped down to $8 an hour. I'm like, where do they do that at? How do you sign a contract and that's not in the contract? She said, you need to refer to your employee handbook that I never received. Your employee handbook specifically states that. So I had to send her a nice note, that she need to check with, the labor board or a human resource professional and let her know that if I signed a contract for X amount of dollars, that means, guess what? That my contract takes precedence over what you have in your employee handbook, because it could have been written in 2012 and never updated, So the fact of the matter is that freaking blew my mind. That got me. I was almost livid, but then I understood from whom it was coming from. That I said, you know what? I know this woman got enough on her hands. And if cutting my pay down to minimum wage is going to make her happy, I'm going to make her day. I didn't argue with her. I just simply sent her some nice, professional, informative information about what she had done. And, I hope it made her happy. I hope it made her happy as to what she did to me. However, I let it roll, but never again, girl, never again. Your girl is out of there. She back home doing what she loves, and we're going to keep it that way. Okay. We're going to keep it that way. I'm just going to be like, I cannot, unless I go into a field that, I am used to in corporate America. But other than that, she out. And with that being said, y'all, I'm out. I hope you enjoyed the story time today. I'm your girl, Sweet Angel. I will see y'all on the next video over here. So take care. And please, if you're new to the channel, again, I hope you enjoyed the story time. It's a variety of things coming over on this channel. But in the meantime and in between time, just go ahead and subscribe. You're going to like what you get, and you're going to like something over here. And we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.